good friend is the goalie for the U.S. Paralympic soccer team, except his whole disability is that he's deaf in one ear. All right. Does that count? Dude, because he just dominates, all right? He has the most saves in Paralympic soccer history. It's like, yeah, of course he does. He has arms. He can do the entire Macarena. It's crazy. Okay, I'm not saying my friend isn't disabled, because he is. That is a disability. He's just not disabled enough. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, when he rides the bus, people ask for his seat. And he goes, huh? And they go, up, get up. And to be clear, this isn't public transit. This is the team bus. Dude, they hate him. They want him to fly through the windshield, because then he'll actually be disabled.
Hey everybody, it's Brock with No K, and you just got stuck at a four-way stop. That was our special guest, Jerry Hamady. Stick around for my interview with him at the end of the episode. Now, normally we record a few days in advance, but today we're recording this on the release day, today, Tuesday, whatever, it's 16th, is it?
August 16th.
Okay, yep, August 16th. Thank you, Chase. My co-host, Chase, just got back from vacation. How was vacation, man?
I am so salty about my vacation because I left my dog in Mexico with my girlfriend, and every time I try to leave Mexico with my dog, the airlines tell me my dog's too big. But my dog is like a tiny little dog.
Don't you have a small dog? Yeah, I thought you had a
it's
small
a tiny dog. And every time they're like, no, it's too big. And it's like, no, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
And my carrier is TSA approved. Unfortunately, the TSA is not respected in Mexico. They say my dog needs to be able to turn around in the cage, or the little carrier thing. The dog totally can turn around in the cage. And then the thing is, once I got through security and I'm sitting at the gate, I see two people with dogs that are the same size as my dog.
Yeah, you sent me a picture. The one was even bigger than your dog.
It's just ridiculous, man. I don't know. So, they had the opportunity to take my $100 to let my dog ride under the seat. And instead, we're just going to get the dog certified as an emotional support animal. And then the dog's going to fly for free. So these airlines are just okay, I'm going to just say it. Viva Aerobus, you suck. Go fuck yourself. Eat a dick. Pito chico puta madre chupa la verga.
That was awesome.
I'm just so heated. Aeromexico last time fucked me. Alaska Air coming out of LA, they did the same thing. These airlines don't communicate their pet policies effectively. So just don't ever get a dog. I don't know. Or get a you think what? I don't know. Okay, man, I don't know. I've had a very, very stressful day, night. The last 24 hours have been insanely stressful. So,
well, I hope you know that listening to your meltdown has brought me up for the day. So, all right, guys, let's get into it.
If you wanna go and take a ride with me, we're three women all crammed in the backseat. Oh, why do I live this way?
Hey, must be the funny.
But if you wanna take a free ride with me, make me laugh from the back of my Camry. Oh, why do I live this way?
Hey, must be the funny.
You just got stuck at a four-way stop.
All right, we got Hatu in the back seat. And
What's happening?
Hatu, you said you had a crazy story from dating back in college?
Yeah, man. Honestly, at this point, I'm a different man. I've grown up quite a bit. But, so I was an RA in college.
Okay.
And at one point, I was dating this other RA that actually lived in my dorm. If she's watching, hi, hello, hope you're doing well. So at one point stayed over at her place, and she had class that semester. I just so happened to not have class on Thursday and Friday.
Nice.
So-
it was solid schedule.
Oh yeah, it really worked out well. Like clearly, funny enough, my most productive semester, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
So she goes to class, she's getting ready, and she's like, hey, listen, you can sleep in. I'm like, oh, perfect. And, she's getting ready like quickly, and she eats this cup of yogurt, and she throws it in the trash can, and she leaves. So probably like an hour later, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh man, I need to take a piss.
Yeah.
Like, just waking up. And I'm like, okay, well, let me just go out and make sure that none of the residents see me coming out of her room, but let me just go out.
Yeah, you want
go
to
use
keep
the
that on the down low.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So
People talk.
exactly. So end up going to the door, and I can't get it open. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, I'm trying to pull the door, like it's not working, and I'm like, oh my god, did she trap me in here?
Did they like tie the rope?
Yeah,
from
exactly,
one door to the
exactly. That's
other?
what I was thinking. Like, my mind immediately went there. So I tried to call her, couldn't get her because obviously she's in class, and at this point it's like panic because it's at the point where like I feel it coming, right? So I'm like, okay, let me just stop messing with the door. I need to find somewhere I can piss. So I look out the window. It has like the mosquito netting, and it's like a high rise. I'm like, dude, I can't piss out this window right now. Like, it's just not gonna work.
You absolutely can piss out a screen.
I'm learning that now. I'm learning that now. Now in hindsight, I probably should have just done
You might
that.
get a little splatter back, but
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
and you might piss on somebody out the window, but whatever.
Exactly. So
All right. So what happened? What'd you do next?
So honestly, quick thinking, I was like, shoot, she was eating a cup of yogurt. Like, let me go and try and piss in the cup of yogurt. Obviously, not my finest hour. A cup of yogurt doesn't have that much capacity.
All 4 ounces of the
Yeah,
cup.
yeah, exactly. So immediately, I start pissing in this thing, and within 2 seconds, of course, it fills up, and I'm like, oh shit. Like, this isn't gonna work. So immediately, once it does that, I just dump the cup in the trash, start pissing in the trash.
That's what you should have done from the start.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. That would have been, if I was thinking with the sane mind, like that's what would have happened.
yeah.
So at that point, like she calls me back and she's like, oh, the door is a little like, it's a little weird. You just have to like push it and pull it. I'm like, well, that would have helped. Like when I was going through this marathon of looking for where to piss, but whatever. So at that point I have a trash can full of piss that I need to do something with. So, I can't carry it like just around campus. So this part is foul. I'm not proud of this. So I take the trash bag and like I dump it in the trash can that's right next to her door.
Oh yeah.
Because I like, God forbid.
I wouldn't want to be walking around with a
Exactly.
bag of piss. Like, yeah.
God forbid that I'm walking around in the dorm that I'm a RA for.
Did you ever think about going into the bathroom and just like dumping it in the toilet?
No,
No?
I didn't. I didn't want to carry it around at all
Okay,
whatsoever.
fair
I just
enough.
wanted this chapter to be over.
Fair enough.
So then, legitimately, maybe a few hours later, she tells me, she's like, yeah, the residents on my floor were complaining, like something happened like around the elevator area and it smells like piss. I'm like, listen, I have to fess up to something. She thought it was so funny, but like legitimately, I'm not that guy anymore. That was not my finest hour, but clearly, that was college.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure everyone that went to college has a story somewhat similar to
Yeah.
that. Awesome, Atu. Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
And we're going to sign off.
All right.
Anonymous Rider, you had a good poop story about your sister.
Yeah, so I have 2 sisters. My oldest sister sells real estate.
Okay.
My other sister and myself, we went along for a ride one day, and when houses get sold and the family moves out, they winterize, so you can't use the toilets, you can't check the faucets.
Otherwise, everything will freeze over.
Right. So my sister, who doesn't sell real estate, she gets sick and runs in to use the toilet. My sister jumps in the way. She stops her. She's like, it's winterized, you can't go. So my sister disappears for the next 30, 40 minutes while the showing is going on. Showing ends, we get back in the car, and my sister won't sit down. She's in the back seat on her knees.
Okay.
So we pull off, and I'm like, hey, man, what's that smell?
Oh, no.
She went around back, pulled her pants, and was riding on her knees so she didn't have to sit in it. We had to ride like 15 minutes away to White Castle so that she could wash herself up and clean her pants so we could finish the rest of the day.
That's gross. Did she have anything to like change into?
No, she had to like wash everything out in the faucet and then stand under the hand dryer and dry everything. It was the end of family time for the day.
Oh, that's
Like, as a matter of
so
fact,
funny.
we never went on another real estate showing with her again.
That's so funny. It's funny how since I put that topic on the list, how many poop stories we've had. And like, I'm not intentionally gonna turn this into a poop cast, but like,
I mean, pooping is major business.
everybody poops, and we've all had mishaps, and I think we can laugh about them because it's hilarious.
Yeah, if you don't have a good poop story, what are you doing?
You're right. I've got, unfortunately, more than one that I'm not proud of. All right, well, thanks for coming on. That was an awesome story, and we're going to sign off.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. As we've mentioned, guys, not every story
Every story.
is going to be about poop, but
Sometimes
we're
will
trying
be
to get
about
through
pee.
these, but people keep telling me poop stories, and I've been like deterring people. I'm like,
Are we?
we're above that, but I'm also not gonna.
I feel
not
like we're
record a
kind
good
of like
poop
the
story
Beavis and
'cause-
Butthead of podcasters. At this point,
I mean, fuck.
I don't know, man. I mean, pee and poop, it's always gonna be funny.
Uh,
And when it's not funny, when I personally do not find a poop or a pee story funny, just put me out of my misery, man. Take me behind the shed. Just put a slug in the back of my head.
yeah. I just don't want to become known as like the
yeah.
poop guy.
Well, you should stop pooping your pants. then.
like.
It's kind of on brand, sir.
But like, I just don't want to become the poop guy. Like that
Right.
makes
Well,
my
we
kids
don't want to have
poop
any
kids,
poop kids,
and
certainly. But I mean,
yeah,
the other topics on the
I just don't want them to go to school and be known as poop kids.
the next two stories both involve alcohol. So, what
'Cause-
would you
'cause
rather
that's
have?
better.
Pee, poop, or boozing? Either way, your reputation's
Or take.
up in the air.
What about taking your mom out on a date?
The next two stories are pretty funny, involving alcohol and taking moms on dates and getting drunk in college. So, should we just beep beep?
Turn this all the way down. Air down. All right. Do you want Sam or Samuel?
Sam is fine.
Okay, perfect. So, how do I bring that one in? That's an awkward date night.
It's it didn't see. It wasn't teed up to be an awkward date night. It was more like. So my buddy and I, we were both 21.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, we can finally do alcohol things. And our parents were very excited because, once you turn 16, you get the driver's license, you can go do grocery runs.
Yeah.
But then once you turn 21, you can go make liquor runs. And it's great. And so like families were very comfortable with alcohol and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so my buddy and I were just like, okay, for Mother's Day, what we might as well do is buy a wine tasting tour
Oh, yeah.
for our moms. It's like, that's a great idea. It's it'd be fantastic. White women love wine.
Yeah.
So we can't go wrong, And so
I like wine.
Exactly. It's like everybody likes wine. And so we had this. So I grew up in Northern California.
Okay.
And so there's all sorts of cool wine tasting
There's
stuff that you
yeah.
can do out there. So we didn't go to Napa because that was way too expensive for us. And so we found this like double, like you can buy 2 tickets, and there was a special, and we were like, oh great. 21-year-old us was like, we're saving money while we're doing this thing, and we didn't read the fine print as to why you had to buy 2 of them. And we later discovered, as we, sort of told them like, hey, we got this thing booked, don't have plans for Saturday, we're going to do this. We're going to drive out to Sonoma and do this. The reason that you had to buy 2 of them is because it was a couple's wine tasting experience. And
Okay.
we showed up, and we didn't notice at first that like that's what it was about. But then the guy started, he was this very flamboyant just guy who just does wine tasting on the weekends, and then his other job is a sex therapist.
Oh, geez.
And he made it very clear that this is just my weekend job. I love it. I love wine. I love viticulture. But I also love being very sex positive with couples. And so the pairings we've got set up today are really just about intimacy, and they're supposed to highlight that. So, like, right out the gate, our moms have great senses of humor.
Yeah.
So they are just laughing, and they're drinking wine that they didn't pay for the entire time, eating the chocolates. And my buddy and I are beet red, surrounded by all these other couples that are doing a couple of wine tasting and just really getting into it, And we were just mortified the entire time.
At 21, yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those
absolutely.
experiences where it's like, oh my God, like, I can't believe that I didn't think this through, and we just were thrown into it. And so there was, so as embarrassing as you might imagine it is going on a wine tasting date with your own mom, I guarantee you it's 10 times worse, and I would absolutely never recommend it to anyone.
The question that everybody wants to know, did you guys mom swap at the end of the night?
No, we did not. In fact, no, we did not. We were so focused on just get through this. It's an hour.
Home, yeah.
It's an hour. I'm gonna grind my teeth. I'm just gonna like bite down hard and just not try to kill myself, and just get through the whole thing. But yeah, it was like the sommelier was he knew his stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it was just all the different things. Like by and large, like looking back, it wasn't funny in the moment for sure.
Oh yeah,
but
it's super embarrassing. Like as a 21-year-old, that's absolutely.
Sort of new to the alcohol game, and you don't realize that people use that, as kind of a prelude to so many other things.
Yeah.
And we were just wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, just young men, didn't understand how that side of the world worked. And that was.
But did they enjoy their Mother's Day present?
Yeah, they did. They it's always the thought that counts. And like I said, they had great sense of humor, so they were they were cracking up the whole time, which was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, awesome. All right, that was Sam. That was awesome. Thank you for that story. All right, we got Quincy in the backseat. Quincy, you had a wild college story?
Wild college story, for sure.
What went down?
So I went to school in like Central Illinois.
Okay.
Illinois Wesleyan, but I got some close friends that played football, University of Iowa, and so I take a trip out there with some of like my teammates, close friends, and this particular weekend was like an Iowa spring game, and so I pull up to the spring game, see my old friends, family. We go out to get food, great time. I go check out their crib, play FIFA, whatever. And so like they had a nice little house. They treat the Big Ten football players well. So anyways, fast forward later on in the night, we're out, and I'm having a good time. I'm drinking.
Yeah, getting wasted.
Like,
what you're supposed to do.
Exactly. These are good players too. So this is like their starting running back. And,
do we want to give any shout out? No, we don't have to.
This is starting running back, and he was like all Big Ten offensive line. They're brothers, and so they're
okay. So you guys can go figure that out and do the math with Google. And
you probably can.
You can figure out who he's talking about.
He used to play for the Bears. That's the last drop I'm gonna give. But and so anyways, fast forward, my phone breaks this night, right? And so technically I was staying somewhere else, but that house was like disgusting as like frat house, and like it just wasn't a good time for me. I did not want to go back there really.
Yeah.
But also I didn't know how to get there, so my phone breaks. We're at this club. I leave. I notice like there's nobody around me anymore that I know.
Right, that happens.
And I'm like, fucked up. So,
in a city that you're not familiar with.
And so I hop on a damn bus. I'm like, how do you get to the stadium? The bus driver was like, yeah, this is the best place to be. We'll get you right over there. And just by like, I don't know how I remember where they live, but I remember where they live, and I was able to get back to my friend's house. Now, when I pull up to the crib, my phone doesn't work, so I can't call anybody.
Right.
And so I'm like ringing the fuck out of their doorbell, knocking on their door,
Nothing.
But they just got back from being out, and
they're all passed out, blacked
out. And so I literally go to the side of the crib. Take out the screen window, open the door to like get into the kitchen, and climb into their house. And like, look, like these are close friends, but like I hadn't seen them in a while. Like, we moved apart for college and stuff like that. And so, like, I would have been fine, but the fact that like, I had to just, and so I sneaked in the crib.
What first and foremost, I hope I'm not jumping it was their house, correct?
It was their house.
Okay,
it was
good,
house.
good,
So
good.
I'm actually.
It would
impressed
have
with
been so much funnier if you would have broken into
Yes.
their neighbor's house and you're
Yeah.
just sleeping on their couch.
Exactly. So like again, I don't know how I remembered, but I think they were driving like mopeds around.
Okay, yeah.
So I saw the mopeds. I'm like, okay, this adds up, and so I break into their house essentially, and that's what I did. And so I eventually just like nestle in on their couch and go to sleep. So eventually I wake up. They're like, "What the fuck? Like, why is Quincy in here?" And then they go into this closet, and the closet has like water on the floor. And they're like, "Why is there water? Like, why is it white right here?" And I'm just like, I don't remember anything. Once I got into the building, I don't remember anything.
So you use their closet
Yeah.
as a bathroom.
I
it
think I
sounds
may have
like.
just been like, "Oh, this is the bathroom. I'm good here."
Yeah, you opened a door and you just assumed and
Yes.
you just yeah.
Yes, and so
I think we've all been there. Most of
yeah,
us. that
super
like to-
embarrassing.
Yeah.
super embarrassing. They like to this day, like they think I'm a little bit crazier than what I am. 'Cause, like I really don't do shit like that. Like
Right. It just happened to get.
it just happened to be one of
yeah.
those nights. And another funny story too is like one of their so they live with a couple teammates, and one of their teammates like they don't claim this happened, but I remember like one of their teammates was like they hunt. You know, Iowa's different. Like there's some country boys, and so like they were hunting.
I lived in Madison for a few years.
So you know.
So, yeah.
Exactly. And so like I remember like waking up and like there was literally like a rifle on the couch.
Oh shit.
Like I think one of their teammates just like went hunting like the weekend before or whatever. I don't
Yeah,
think he was home.
Madison. I mean, at least nothing that I saw in Madison was like that. But who knows?
Yeah,
I'm
you know,
sure
like,
it was. Yeah.
them big country boys, like they
Yup,
come from
yup.
exactly. So
Corn-fed motherfuckers.
exactly. And so I'm like, damn, like if they was home and they just saw this, I'm a black, so like I'm black at Iowa City, going in through a window, so it could have been trouble. But
I mean, that did cross my mind when you ran that by me. I was like, did somebody like call the cops on you? And like, because
it ended up working out well. We woke up.
Thankfully nobody saw you and
Played some FIFA the next morning, so it was all good. But
Awesome.
that's my story. It's
awesome,
embarrassing.
man.
But
Yeah, no, that's a good story. All right, Quincy. Anything you got to plug or promote? Anything you got going on? Or
I mean, I actually do a podcast as well.
oh hell yeah,
Might as well plug it here.
yeah, absolutely.
It covers the Bears and Bulls. It's top 5 sports. We're on all platforms basically. Instagram,
Awesome.
YouTube, TOPFIVE
Well-
_ sports. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Chase, have you noticed we've had a bunch of stories from people blacking out in Iowa?
Yeah, there's something
There's something in the water.
about Iowa. I don't know. Maybe it's just there's nothing to do but drink. Similar
mean,
to
I guess,
our
yeah.
home state of Wisconsin. I mean, there's literally nothing to do but go to work, go to school. There's no real.
I mean, Wisconsinites, I think, take pride in their ability to binge drink.
I think Wisconsinites are professionals and will always be the top tier alcoholic.
In
And
the country,
Iowa's
for
just
sure,
like
yeah.
Iowa's just like
Little
next
brother.
door, kind of like, hey guys, we're cool too, and we're like, yeah, you know, you're all right. You can hang.
We love you,
Iowa.
Iowa. All right.
Yeah, we love you,
So
Iowa.
it is that time. It is that time in the show to talk about the show. If you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to the show so that episodes drop to you every single week.
That's right, new on Tuesdays. Also, we just want to remind everybody that you can get a free ride in Chicago. Call the 4-Way Stop hotline, 612-666-9626. Leave us a message. Tell us a brief summary of your story that you think is pretty funny. And if we think it's pretty funny, Brock will come out, pick you up, and take you to wherever you want to go within reason.
Especially if it's Taco Bell.
Yeah, if you want a free ride to Taco Bell and you want to tell your story on the way to the drive-thru, hell yes. Let's go.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah. So just follow us on social media. Just type into the internet 4-Way Stop Podcast. You will find us. We'll come up in the search results on whatever app you're using, Google, freaking Instagram, whatever. That being said, just support the podcast if you like what we're doing. We appreciate everybody for listening.
Yeah, seriously, guys, it's been awesome. The support has been phenomenal the last couple weeks, and a lot of people are hopping on board. So tell your friends. If you've got good story, tell our friends. Send them our way. We want them on the podcast. You can ride along and laugh at them telling good stories. I know this next story is about vaginas, and you do get excited. So,
all right, I have one brief story about vaginas that I can just kind of preface here. So, so this next story is called Vagina Cream, and I'm gonna just tell you. So I was in Mexico, and my puppy's down there, which you may have heard me rant about earlier. And my puppy's down there, and like maybe a week before I'm leaving, I start to notice there's these like little sores all around her like pubic area. Like it doesn't, I was like, is this dog herpes? What the hell? Like, so we take the dog to the vet, and the vet was just gloveless, like no sterile gloves, just like poking around my dog's pussy area, just like raw dogging it with her fingers. Like I didn't even see him wash her hands or anything. It's just like, oh my God,
it's Mexico.
It's
what are you
incredible.
Talking about?
Mexico, man, it's beautiful. And so the vet, she's like poking around my dog's pussy, and she's like explaining in Spanish to my girlfriend about how my dog. Jesus, this is so freaking weird. My dog's, she got fixed too young, and so her pussy never developed into an adult female dog vagina. So
it's like the Michael Jackson of dog pussies.
It's just apparently it's not and it does look weird, man. It does look weird. If the vagina, it's like a little button. I don't understand. I'm not a doctor or a medical man by any means, but
I've heard there's a little button. I've heard there's a little button down there.
So the sure is a man in the boat. Be sailing away. And anyways, the vet basically told me that every time my dog goes out to use the grass to take a pee, like I have to clean the area because her puppy pussy is going to cause urine to get infected and cause irritations and shit. So maybe we need some vagina cream.
I was going to say,
puppy.
did you get her some vagina cream?
Yeah. I didn't get her vagina cream, but we did get some medication, some pills that I forced down her throat.
Oh, cool.
And that seemed to clear up the issue. But the bigger issue is I was in Mexico to bring my dog back to America, and those fuckers at the airline wouldn't let me bring my dog. So I'm still heated from
Stop sticking
that.
stuff down your dog's throat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Vagina cream.
So yeah, let's listen to vagina cream.
Let's check out this story from Bickle. All right, we got Bickle in the backseat. Bickle, you said you had a crazy work story for us. What happened?
Yeah, sure do. I am a pharmacist, and working during a pandemic when you're a healthcare worker can be pretty tiring. So I was on a 10-day stretch here and working for a big retail conglomerate, you may know.
We won't name names.
We won't name names. So, it was I had 8 hours left in my shift. Like I said, 10-day stretch, and I'm pretty worse for wear at this point. Just having a really bad time with life, commuting.
Aren't we all?
Commuting an hour each way, and I still have to talk to people. I still have to provide optimum patient care. So that was my goal for this day. Get a call. Got to go back to drive-through to give a consult on metronidazole vaginal cream.
Ooh, vagina cream.
Not sure if you guys are familiar with that, but it is a pretty intensive antibiotic cream. It's actually a
I'm
gel.
not personally familiar, but I'm sure some of the ladies out there are.
Yeah. And if you know, you know. Not to be cliche, but if you know, you know. So I'm explaining it to this woman. We'll call her Emily. So I pick up the phone and I say, all right, for Emily, we've got the metronidazole vaginal gel. And I start describing to her how to use said vaginal gel.
How do you use it?
So it comes in a tube with 5 applicators. And you load up the applicators from the tube, and then you insert it into the vagina like a tampon. So I'm describing this to her like verbatim. And I'm thinking, you know what? Bickle, you're rocking this consult, and you've had a bad couple of days, had some screaming kids, got punched in the face. Like, this is good. This is good right now. Like, you know,
Nailed it. You felt good about it.
patting it on the back. I even put my hand into my pocket. I felt so good about this consult. You know, so I'm describing to the woman how to use it. You know, you insert the applicator into the vagina, just like a tampon, and squeeze up. And then you want to lay right down because the gel is sticky. And you want optimum contact in the vaginal canal so that the antibiotic has time to work. So we recommend doing it at night. We also recommend using a panty liner because, again, it's sticky and it will stain your panties. And nobody wants that. Especially, did we talk about what this is for?
No.
Bacterial vaginosis. So you mean you already have some problems going on. So, you know, we want to make it as regular as possible. So, you know, I finish it up, say, all right, what questions do you have for me? And I'm thinking, man, I fucking nailed it. And then I hear from behind me, she's over the loudspeaker.
So you told the entire store how to put vagina cream on?
I sure did.
Oh, no.
So.
Was there a lot of customers in there?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It was a 24-hour store, very busy. Busiest in the district.
Oh, fun.
So.
I mean, at least they all know how to put on whatever vagina cream you.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing is, and now everybody here knows as well.
Yeah.
So I will say, this is what I did. Handled it like a champ.
Now, did she hear the message as well?
No.
No.
So I was.
You only told the entire store?
I told the entire store. Then I heard I was over the loudspeaker. Then I went, pressed the button for the drive-through line, and gave the consult again.
All right, guys, it is time once again to turn on the headlights. We've got special guest Jerry Hamady, comedian from Chicago. No, he's from Milwaukee, actually. I did find that out. That was pretty cool.
Comedian in Chicago.
Comedian in Chicago via the Milwaukee. So, yeah, check out Jerry Hamady and... All right, guys, once again, it's time to turn on your headlights. I wish the headlight turning on sound was a little bit more dramatic, but today's special guest, we got stand-up comedian and creator of the Comedy Gazelle magazine, Jerry Hamady. How are we doing today, Jerry?
I'm good, man.
Awesome.
Happy to be here.
So what do you have going on tonight?
Heading down to Timothy O'Toole's to watch the latest Comedians You Should Know.
Any big names worth mentioning that you know are there?
I don't even know who's on the lineup.
Okay.
It's always a great lineup. I'm trying to watch like more good quality shows in Chicago. I'm trying to run one myself and just like pick some stuff up, and I think it's good to support and not.
I did see the one that you're running. What's that called?
It is the Laughs and Lager show. We might be moving venues, but we're doing it at Dovetail Brewery currently.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been going pretty well.
You just had a show there a couple nights ago, yeah?
Yeah, last night.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. So your last name is Hamady. Is this like a Crentist becoming a dentist type of situation where you just felt like you needed to do comedy because it rhymed with your name?
No.
That's a deep cut Office reference if you didn't catch that.
I did not, but...
Sounds like a good dentist.
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
Crentist.
Your dentist's name is Crentist. Huh. Sounds a lot like dentist.
No, my dad is actually Iranian, a very foreign man.
Nice.
I'm not going to do my Hamady comedy material here, but yeah, he loves it, and that's true. It just kind of happened that way.
How long have you been doing stand-up?
About like 3 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
The one thing that you mentioned the first time I met you when you were an original writer was the magazine that you were doing. Can you tell us about the magazine?
Yeah, so I started that during the pandemic. Basically, I interview local comedians, and now I'm starting to get into people who are visiting from out of town, like out of town headliners.
Nice. Yeah, I saw Sam Morrell.
Sam Morrell, yeah.
Sam Morrell.
He's great. He gave me a lot of time and really insightful interview, and it's cool talking to somebody that's like filming their Netflix special as they're doing it. So that was awesome. Nate Craig was our last issue, and then we got a little spoiler here, a little teaser. We got Chris Higgins coming up. He's going to be the feature for this coming month.
There we go.
But yeah, so I started it during the pandemic just as a way to like stay involved, kind of like contribute to the scene, meet people, and learn some stuff myself, because obviously we couldn't perform stand-up. So
yeah, and one of the things is, especially for me, just starting out and doing stand-up, like the quotes that were on there, that you would put on your Instagram, those always hit hard. And like for young comedians, I think that's awesome to see those kind of things. Like, hey, you are gonna suck, but it's okay. Like, there's another day.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that a lot of these comics have like really gone through it, and you know, they're trying to give good advice and help out people. That's kind of the idea. And some of those quotes, you know, are really powerful, but the whole articles themselves, like, there's so many gems in there. I don't want to spam people with quotes over and over, but there's so much good stuff in there. It's really hard to pick and choose which ones to put in, but there's a lot of good stuff in all of it. And I think if you just kind of read through them as a whole, this is what I do. Like, I'll just go back and kind of look at different interviews, and like, you know, certain advice doesn't make sense for you, but some of it might. And then, you know, you just kind of put all these things together, and then you end up kind of forming your own path based on other people's advice. You got to filter stuff. So.
Right. Yeah, I was talking about that with my last guest too. Like, you take all the comedy that you've taken in over the years, and then, you know, form it to what you're doing. You know, but it's all involved in there. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Is there a question in there? What's the?
I don't know. I got lost in the ride.
Yeah.
Don't worry. One thing I wanted to ask: have you had any crazy stories from early on, and like early on in stand-up and doing stand-up?
Yes. Let's see. The first time I did stand-up in Chicago, I pooped myself.
Okay. First of all, where were you?
I was at Cole's open mic.
Okay.
I had like just moved to the city. I think it was my first night in the city. I was like really excited to do stand-up, but the only food I'd eaten that night was like this gross canned lentil soup. And as soon as I get to Cole's, I'm like nervous as hell.
Yeah.
And then this lentil soup is kicking in, and
just not sitting right.
Yeah, and I like take a shit, and then I'm good, and then I sit back down, and then I have like a really gnarly fart, and I'm like, uh-oh. So I run to the bathroom and realize that I have pooped myself a little bit, you know, kind of like a wet. It wasn't like a full turd or anything, but like just a gross streak. It was bad, and you know, it's combined with all the nerves and whatnot, and I just like didn't know what to do.
Now, was this before or after you were going up?
This was before. This was like not right before, but
you still went up. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Of course, I'm there, bro.
That probably calmed the nerves a little bit. Did you talk about it on stage?
I don't think so.
No,
I was pretty ashamed.
As you are after, but it's you know, time plus or what is it? I can't even think
grief or whatever. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Trauma plus time equals.
All right. Can I continue my story?
Yeah.
All right.
Tell me. Dude,
I want to talk about my poop story. So yeah, basically like poop myself, and then I'm going up in a few comics, and I'm trying to figure out what to do. So I actually decided to call my mother. I'm like, Mom, I just pooped myself, and she says, well, you can either go home or throw away your underwear, but don't wear it. So I hid my underwear under a bunch of like paper towels in the bathroom, because you don't want to walk into the bathroom and see someone's like shitty underwear. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
So obviously hid it, and then I was standing. I was up in like a few people. So I'm standing in Cole's, which if you haven't been there, it's this very cramped, packed room, and I'm slowly noticing people like moving away from me. I'm like, fuck, I really smell like shit. But I'm there, dude. I'm doing my first mic. I'm committed to it. That's kind of my rule. If I'm there, I'm going up.
Right.
So yeah, it actually went incredibly well.
Did it? Awesome.
And then it was. That's the thing about Cole's, is it deceives you. It's very supportive. And then you go to, you know, some place like North Bar, rest in peace, and you know, then you get a nice dose of reality. But it was nice starting like that, and I was shitting myself, I guess. And I've gotten a little bit better. I still get nervous poops all the time, but haven't had any accidents in coming up on 3 years now.
That's awesome. So for a little bit of a backstory, Jerry was an original rider before we had all the cameras and stuff. He was one of the guys who convinced me to get up on stage. I hadn't been up on stage in a couple months, and he's like, hey, it's an open mic. We're on our way to it right now. And you were like, you should come in sometime. And I pulled around the corner, and there was a spot right there, and I was like, it was fate. So
yeah, I was very impressed. I was like, oh shit, I just convinced my driver to do stand-up. I was like, what the fuck? I don't know, dude. I love comedy, and I think everyone should do it. So I'm always encouraging people, and I'm glad you actually gave it a go. It's awesome.
Yeah. And from there, like, that sent me on a pretty decent run where I was getting on stage at least 2 times a week, like every week for the next like 2 months. And that's when
a strong start.
That's when I started to go broke and realized that I needed to get back on the road, which,
those
in
$3
essence,
PBRs add up quick.
They do. And I have to drive home afterwards, so like two is my max. Basically, in essence, led to us doing the podcast, which is kind of the same thing that you're doing with the magazine, just on a different format, interviewing comics.
It? Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, that's. I guess that's not our main frame. Our main frame, like
the
main frame, is the rider stories, which has been so much fun.
Yeah, but dude, like, I a lot of respect for people doing interviews. I know it's difficult.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it's
getting
cool.
I'm getting better, and like I said, with the last one with Grace, didn't go so well because of lack of sleep and jitters. But it's been fun, and just involving the different comedians around town has been awesome. Getting to know you guys a little bit better.
It happens. Do you ever feel like you bomb an interview when you're the interviewer? Do you ever feel that way?
Oh, the last one with Grace, 1,000%.
Well,
it was by far my worst one, but other than that, I've felt pretty all right with it.
Okay, nice.
Getting better. Do you feel like I bombed this one?
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. I don't know. Sometimes, like, I'm just very hard on myself. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and even like, it's weird because the thing about interviewing is, like, the person you're interviewing is generally nervous, but sometimes, like, I was talking to Sam Morril, which is a crazy sentence, but I was like, Jesus Christ,
he's taking off like crazy.
It's like, this is crazy. And something he was talking about in the interview is how he just did, like, Letterman's show on Netflix.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, I'm nervous, like, I don't, like, belong here or whatever, but he's like, you gotta act like you do and suck
Fake
it up.
until you make it, 100%.
Yeah. So it's cool and interesting to see that somebody at his level is, has those thoughts as well.
Right, yeah. Where can people find you? Online? Where can they check out your show?
Yeah.
You said you weren't sure about venues quite yet, but...
Yeah, the venue's kind of, like, being a little difficult and screwing us over, so we might be trying to move. If you want, you can follow us on Comedy Gazelle. That'll be, like, the most up-to-date thing on Instagram. We're also on Facebook, but I don't really give a shit about Facebook. So Comedy Gazelle, that's the baby, and then at Legendary with 2 Y's.
Legendary.
Yeah.
With 2 Y's.
I should probably. Yeah, I've had that. I thought it was, like, really cool when I made it, like, in. What was I, like 15 or something? It was like, oh, this is a cool pun, but now it's just like, all right, you're just fucking going on 27. Just make it your name.
One other thing I wanted to ask: where are you from originally?
From Milwaukee.
Oh, dude, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
I think I don't remember.
We might have had that conversation at Dale's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Watertown, which is like 45 minutes west of there.
Oh shit. Yeah, I'm from, like, Mequon specifically.
Okay. Oh shit, yeah.
Which is, like, north suburb. But it's cool. So I went there, and then for, like, high school and everything, grew up there, and then went out to school in Boston.
Sweet.
And then graduated and moved back here. This is kind of crazy. When I was in college, so I was, like, a business major and whatnot, but just my senior year in college, I had to take, like, a journalism elective.
Okay.
And then our teacher was just like, oh, just interview whoever you're interested in. And I think Gary Gulman's state abbreviation bit had either just come out or had like just seen it, and he was on late night, and I was like, oh, like I'd love to talk to him. So I reached out to Gary, and he
just as a student,
I'm like, hey man, like journalism student, like love your comedy. Would you be willing to talk to me for however long, like about some of your work? Yeah. Yeah, I had trouble explaining that. But then, he was like super friendly, agreed to do it, and I sat down with him. I think we did a phone call.
Okay.
And so my first interview was Gary Gulman.
That's awesome.
And
that's a big one.
And it was cool, man. He's had a lot of insightful stuff. Kind of like broke down that bit. Wonder if I could like dig that up and share that.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
But then he kind of got a little mad at me, and then
why do you get mad?
So I like asked him a question if he because he used to be a high school substitute teacher.
Okay.
And he's like very heavily like craft focused. Like he's really big on the craft and like the language and all that stuff. So I phrased it poorly, but I was trying to get at is like, do you think stand-up comedy has like a place in like a high school like English curriculum? Like dissecting the writing, it's kind of like poetry in a sense. There's
it's an art, 100%.
There's a lot of like interesting language stuff there that I think could make it like more appealing for some students.
Yeah.
And he just was very dismissive of that idea.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, and then made me feel.
I mean,
very
I
stupid.
wish comedy writing was a class in high school. I 100% would have.
Right? Like, I would have known more about it. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know stand-up existed.
I guess creative writing that's a class, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's different. That's like, oh, you're writing some like bullshit story. It's that like has humor in it. It's not like, we're writing for the stage.
Right. Yeah.
Like I didn't even know you could do stand up until I was in college.
Right. Like
I had no idea.
In high school is kind of when I started to get into it. Yeah. So go ahead and follow Jerry at Comedy Gazelle on Instagram, and Legend Jerry. Maybe he might change it. We'll see. Go find Legendary.
Thank you for having me, and
thanks for coming on, Jerry.
I'm glad that you're doing this.